On this week's episode, I'm talking to Beau Cook from the Penrith Giants, and we're talking all things AFL in Western Sydney. Welcome to the podcast. This week I've got Beau with me from the Penrith Giants. Before I get into this episode, I just want to sort of briefly touch on how I got into AFL. I moved to Australia in 2005. Just like any typical Kiwi comes over here and watches this thing, and we're like thinking to ourselves, what's this? And I've got to admit, like, I had no interest in it whatsoever. I guess you can say I was like maybe looking at the Swans only because they were Sydney, and then all of a sudden the Giants came into the competition, and I thought to myself, you know what, I've got a team now. This team's just started, so I'm going to support this team. And the first year they came in, I didn't go out to watch any games or anything. Just watch them on TV, just getting used to the rules. And then the very next year, 2012, like, I went to a heap of games and I was like, whoa, and I was like hooked after that. And so I've been a supporter ever since the Giants came into it, and I guess thanks to them, that's probably why I like AFL as much as I do now. So, I'll just throw it over to Beau. Just introduce yourself. And yeah,
cheers. Thanks, Elliot. So yeah, I'm Beau, obviously, part of the executive at Penrith Giants AFL club. I've been there for a few years now. Son plays there, and that's how I kind of started. Started playing when I was 14, played for a couple of years, and gave the sport away, as you do when you get older. So I start working and whatnot. And then, son turned 5 and went into the Auskick program there. I've been there ever since, so another 4 or 5 years later.
Yeah. And the club itself has it been around since, I guess, the announcement or the Giants have come into the competition? Yeah,
so Penrith AFL, we've been there before the Giants. Originally, we were Penrith Swans.
Okay.
So been there for over 20 years as the Swans.
Okay, yeah.
And then, when the Giants come into the competition, we rebranded, I think, 2014.
Okay.
I believe we became the Penrith Giants.
Yeah.
And, we've been there ever since.
Okay, and you played yourself growing up?
Yeah, I played in the Penrith Swans, actually, in the old woolen V-necks back when. It was really, really different time.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cream, white and red.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
and good. In terms of, so you played when you were young, the popularity of the game as when you were young, what was it like out here in Penrith?
Yeah, it was very very non-existent, if I'm honest. Like, even now still, obviously a very rugby league dominated sort of area, but back then, our whole team was sort of the rep team as well. Like the Penrith Swans, all those guys played the Penrith Valley rep team as well, just because they were good players, don't get me wrong, but there was just a lack of sort of diversity around the area to get good players. So yeah.
And was there much work from the AFL put into this area prior to the Giants? Because now the Giants are in, they're quite active. You see the Giants going to schools and everything like that. Was there anything like that? Like, would you see the Swans turn up at schools or?
Yeah. So we did. Obviously, it was a bit harder with one team sort of servicing the whole of Sydney, but they were definitely around. But not like it is now. Like, you've got 2 teams able to service. One for the whole Western Sydney, one for the eastern suburbs.
Yeah.
So I do feel like there's a lot more presence from the AFL now. Than there was back then, for sure.
Yeah. And so in the Penrith area, how many AFL clubs do we have within our area?
Yeah, so our local clubs, we've got sort of St Clair, Hawkesbury, Glenmore Park, Emu Plains, then us. Then you got the mountains, you got a few more clubs as well. So and then sort of push the Parramatta area. You got Borkum Hills, Parramatta. Out Campbelltown's got 3 or 4 clubs as well.
Okay.
There's a few. Definitely growing. We've got AFL fields now at Jordan Springs. And at Caddons as well. So obviously potential to expand there in those new estates as well.
Is that like senior and junior? Have we got different competitions?
Yeah, so Penrith Giants, sort of, we cater from 4 years old up to under 18s.
Okay.
And then at that point you go into the Penrith Rams, which encases, a larger area of Penrith, sort of like the whole of Penrith, so your Hawkesbury.
Okay.
All those will come to the Penrith Rams,
Yep.
which is sort of our higher league sides.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And what competition do they play in?
They've got like the Division 1 side,
Yep.
and the reserve grade side as well. But they play, I believe, Sydney wide.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a much bigger competition. Yeah.
Oh, nice. And so obviously we've got the GWS Giants.
Yep.
What sort of impact has that had on the game in terms of getting more kids, at a junior level? Because I get the feeling that you go around like Penrith now, and I'm seeing a lot more kids getting around of like Giants hats or Giants jerseys. So obviously that has to be a good thing for growing the game out here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's definitely made a big impact. Like last year we had record numbers within the club. Like we've had our highest members to date. So I definitely think that's got something to do with the GWS Giants inception into the AFL.
Yeah.
And then obviously the AFL's got the AFLW now, and the Giants have got that women's team.
Yeah.
And I think we'll see our numbers grow again with the girls comp as well.
Yeah, so there's interest from the girls to play in the AFL out
Yeah,
here as well.
Absolutely. So a lot of the girls at the moment are still playing in the younger ages are in the mixed comps.
Yeah.
But there is a push within the AFL to create those younger comps. So next year we'll have our under 10s and under 12s girls, as well as under 14s and upwards from that. So yeah, this will be the first year though that we've hopefully been able to field an under 10 girls team as well.
Oh, okay. So so what girls teams have you been able to field?
Yeah. So last year we had the 3 girls teams. We had 13s, 15s, 17s.
Yeah.
They've really successful teams actually.
Yeah.
We had, I think all 3 of our girls teams actually made it to finals. Unfortunately didn't get to win. But all made it to the finals last year and really competitive, really enjoying the footy.
Yeah. And so what kind of people are you seeing joining the club or getting involved in the game? Are we seeing younger kids who maybe once upon a time would want to play rugby league or rugby, but now they're sort of looking at AFL as another option? Is that what we're starting to see?
Yeah, I think so a lot. I think there's a lot of misconception around the game as well. Like AFL, when I was growing up, there was that idea that it wasn't really a tough sport. It was very hands off. But as people get involved a lot more, like it is a really physical game. And I think once the parents kind of understand that, and it's good for the kids, it's a real stepping stone as well to like as they size up a bit more. The physicality of the game becomes a bit more intense, and it's just a really really good game. So I think we are starting to get around that ideological parent that thought rugby league was the harder game, the tougher game. But we are starting to see a lot.
Because obviously, we're out here is very rugby league.
It is, well, they've got the Panthers.
Yeah.
Just Western Sydney, there must be at least 5 NRL teams.
Yeah.
Tigers, Eels.
Yes.
There's heaps. So.
And I guess the strength of the junior rugby league out in Penrith as well. And so you've got like a lot of talent. We've got a lot of talented players out here.
Yep.
How is AFL going about sort of trying to get people to look at playing AFL as an option as opposed to the usual like your rugby leagues and what have you?
Yeah, so I think in general the AFL is starting to run a lot more clinics in the schools just to get a bit of exposure in the game.
Yeah.
And then beyond that, they're obviously running their development squads to really find that talent, draw that talent out.
Yep.
So they've got the pathways to actually excel in the game if they want to and are able to.
Yeah.
I think that's making a big difference as well.
Yeah, and are we slowly starting to see, I guess, the not stigma, but how when I first moved over here, like how I viewed AFL.
Yep.
I guess it was the general view of AFL in this area. Do you feel as though that it's starting to be more accepted now?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the game is doing making fantastic inroads. This part of Sydney to really break that stigma.
Yeah.
The game it's a fantastic game. It really is, and I do think we are really starting to make inroads. To expose the game for what it is.
Yeah. And so you said the Penrith Giants were the Penrith Swans.
That's correct.
Prior to rebranding, and they were around for 20 years.
Yeah, I believe so. Wouldn't quote me on it, but definitely around for quite some time. Yeah.
And you said last year you had record numbers when it came to membership.
We did, highest number of members in our database in history, as far as I'm aware. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was really good.
And do you sort of have an idea on how you're looking for next year?
Yeah, so retention is looking all right. The older ages, I feel like it's every sport. The older ages start to taper off a bit, lose kids to work and social lives and that sort of thing. But our younger ages, absolutely. I think we're still keeping those kids coming through, and it looks like we're going to have another good amount of fresh kids coming back through the club.
Yeah, that's good. And for me, when I'm looking at AFL, I do like it in the sense that if you look at a lot of the rules is about player safety and protecting the players.
Yep.
I think the AFL does a really good job when it comes to players and looking after the players, make sure there's not as many injuries as other sports.
Yeah, so I think the games are staged quite well for the age. So, up to about 8 years old, all the kids are just in what's called an Auskick program, which is literally a development program.
Yeah.
They develop skills with sort of game-based learning. They do play games amongst themselves. Like your Auskick program have 30 kids, so you can have 2 teams at the end of the game. At the end of the sessions, they come have a game. Then you sort of your under 9s to your under 11s play on a smaller field. Tackling is more of a hold, there's no taking it into the ground or hitting too hard or late or anything like that. And then once you sort of hit under 12s upwards, the game really comes into its full form. It's a much bigger field. You'll see the kids, really, it becomes a physical game. It really does. Like the hits become harder to make the play harder as well. It evolves itself naturally.
Yeah, and then at what age do you... Obviously, leading up into senior footy, but then is it at the younger ages that you then get onto the full size field and play the full quarters?
Yeah, so we always start with the quarters. As soon as you hit under 9s, they're like a 50-minute game.
Oh yeah.
So 4 quarters, about 13, 14 minutes, and then by the time you're under 13s, you're on the field.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Which is a big jump.
You
got like 16 players on each on the field for each side, so it's a lot happening on the field all of a sudden. And it's not quite an 80-minute game. I think it's just over an hour game from under 13s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
15 minutes. Yeah.
Okay.
Big field, so it does 15 minutes out there.
Yeah.
It's good fitness.
Well, one thing you can't complain, no matter what you think about AFL, is just the amount of running that the players do.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I got the first AFL game I went to live.
Yep.
I was just watching this game and I'm seeing everybody running around. I'm thinking to myself, what the heck? These guys just do non-stop running, and then they've got to run off the field to do a sub, and I'm like, this is crazy.
They are fit boys.
And
girls, absolutely. Like there's no downtime.
No.
You're always on.
And what I like, and this is, I always try and tell Kiwis that, you can actually watch it as a rugby supporter too, because it's a game where the ball is always alive. The ball is never really yours. So even if you've got the possession, there's still a chance of, the opposition getting it back off you.
Yep.
And I guess the thing that it has a little bit more than rugby is that it's a 360 game. So as a player, there's things happening all around you.
That's something I picked up early on with rugby league. It's not rugby league, is coming from rugby league to AFL. Watching the games is so different. Where the ball is only half the story with AFL. You can watch around what's happening, and there's always things in place, always other things in motion off the ball. So attending the games is so much different to attending a rugby league game as opposed to watching it on TV. The atmosphere and just the ability to see everything that's happening in an AFL game. There's just a lot going on at all times.
Do you think that it may not be anytime too soon, but do you feel as though we can see that kind of AFL obsession? Because as I said, I've been going to the Giants games since 2012. Was a member there up until last year. In the beginning, not many people went to games for the Giants. And even now, unless it's like a big team like Collingwood or Essendon, you're not going to get too many people there. But do you feel as though we're slowly getting towards some form of fanatical support for our AFL team?
Yeah, I think the AFL is making all the right right moves to make it that way. Obviously they've positioned us in Blacktown and home and Olympic Park, where the games and they train and whatnot. And they're spreading exposure to the women's comp. The Sydney Swans as well. Looks like they're going to acquire a new stadium to run a second tier competition as well.
Oh, okay.
So they'll be able to play what's called the NEFL in New South Wales. And that'll also give the ability to expand the AFLW as well. So you're growing that audience, I think. And the more you grow the audience, the more participation you get.
And this year the Giants. How did you think the Giants? Obviously, it was good they made the grand final. But what's your take on the season that they had this year?
Yeah, it was a phenomenal season. It was a great season. It'd be hard to fault it. Obviously, the grand final was hard to predict that it would go like that. It was the Tigers were just all over it. It was a very one-sided game.
Yeah, I feel as though I'm a realist, and so they made the grand final, which I was happy about. But a part of me was also like, I looked at the season as a whole, the injuries that we had, I just was happy for us to be in the grand final. So, and if anything after that was a bonus for me. Obviously, I didn't see it going the way that it did.
No, absolutely not.
But I was still quite happy with the season, considering, as I said before, some of the injuries we had and what have you. But that particular, for them to make the grand final, it has to be massive for the game out here, surely.
I think so. And I think, looking back, it was always a plan at the AFL. They initially put Kevin Sheedy in as coach, as foundation coach, and he started laying the foundations then, with the first draft. We picked up Phil Davis, who was co-captain last year. Today announced not captaining next year.
And announced today. Today, wasn't it?
Caniglia's taken over. But, he was a drafted player. You go through, the foundation players, we drafted Toby Green. Early on. Those players were coming into their game, it started to really pay off now. They played the game well. Leon Cameron was a senior assistant coach. And now he's coach. I feel like I just took the right steps early on to keep building to where we are now, and I think it'll keep going strength to strength. First games we had 10,000. First year it was 10,000 members. Now 30,000 members. Made the first grand final. There'll be more. I think the club's doing really well. And it'll just help grow out here, more exposure.
Because if I'm thinking about, first year we win 2 games. Second year we only won 1 game. Then the third year we won 6 games. Fourth year 10 games. And then after that, that's when we started to make the finals. And so that was just watching the players grow in that time. We've obviously lost a few players along the way, which was always going to happen. But I guess for us to still be in a strong position, because you can then look at the flip side of it, and you can look at the Gold Coast
the
Suns and look at how they're going. So obviously we've done the right things to get the game to get the team to where they are now. Sure.
Look, AFL definitely supported the club to make it really successful in the competition, but the right decisions have been made from the start, I think. They really played it well. And, we have lost players that looking to play, either head back to Melbourne, but maybe even looking to play for those big successful clubs. As with success, the players want to come. I think, last year's grand final just helped with that. We'll start to see better trades come through this year.
We picked up the ruckman from Adelaide.
Yes.
And that's got to, obviously, because he's looked at the club and seen the success that we're having, and he's like, okay, so that kind of thing's always going to happen. And in terms of the Penrith Giants, what's been some of the success that the club's had in your time that you've been involved with them?
Although we're just happy with our retention. That's a really big one for us. We've just been focusing on atmosphere, making sure the kids are having a good time. Now we're sort of shifting a bit more our focus onto sort of success in the game. Really starting to focus on performance. Last year we put on a paid position for a coaching coordinator. Who really helped our guys develop their skills and become a lot better that way. Being still a young sport, and being where we are, like heart of Penrith, right
Yeah,
next to the
yeah.
Panthers,
Yeah.
filling all our teams sometimes can be a challenge. So you've
Yeah,
got
yeah.
kids playing out of age. So, you know, with teenagers that, you know, a 13-year-old can be half the size of a 14-year-old.
Yeah,
just
yeah.
depending on where they're at with their growth cycle or whatnot. So I feel like, you know, once we get our numbers up and whatnot, and we'll get
Yeah.
the kids playing well. So now we're sort of starting to make more of a shift towards performance. But at the moment, we're really happy with our ability. We've championed inclusion, really looked at retention, made sure the atmosphere is good.
Yeah,
People like being there.
Yeah.
We're really proud of that.
Yeah, and in terms of the support, what kind of support does the club receive, like from local businesses or what's that like?
Yeah, we've got a few really fantastic sponsors on board.
Yep.
Like, you know, CC Tires is a big one out of Bat Street. Gilbert and Roach, they sell trucks. Krispy Kreme have always been on board, been really fantastic to us. A few others, you know, as well that we've been very lucky to be supported for quite a long time.
Yeah, yeah. And are there any like goals that you talk about retention?
Yep.
That's probably sounds like one of the things that you guys are focusing on now, just trying to retain a lot of the young kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
And is there any other goals, like looking further on down the track, that the club may have?
Yeah, look, we're desperate to sort of win a flag. We'd love to take home a grand final in the next year or two with just any of our teams, to be honest.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, like we've had a lot of our teams through the ages now, so you know, we've been working for a bit of time. We'd love to see one of them come
And
home.
what's
with a good
the
year.
closest that the clubs come?
We've lost at prelim finals.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we've come relatively close.
Yeah.
We had a really good boys team last year that fell apart.
Yeah.
Just hit that sort of 14-year-old age
Oh,
and just dispersed a bit.
Yeah.
It would have been great to have another year with them, but
Mhm.
just, you know, your priorities change when you sort of age up a bit. But
Yeah.
So
That
retention's the big
happens.
one at that age for us, absolutely.
Yeah. And what's the strongest grade that you've got at the club?
Definitely our younger ages.
Yeah.
Under 9s is always really strong.
Yeah.
Auskick's really good, so that development program for the kids. The girls' teams are really strong for us.
Okay, yeah.
The girls are absolutely loving the sport.
Yeah.
Our under 13s, 15 girls, really, really strong teams.
Yeah. Do you get many kids that are playing a few sports? So you'd have some chance, you have some playing league, soccer, you know, all the sports. So you got a few of them, do you?
Yeah, so we got quite a large number that are soccer and AFL. So soccer's on the Saturday.
Yeah.
Parents back up for Sunday AFL. And obviously you get like a few swimmers here and there, and you know, then your summer sport players, so your baseballs, your basketball. But the correlation in winter is generally swimming and soccer are the ones we kind of match up.
Yeah. And you said, so AFL is a Sunday
sport,
sport, is it?
Yeah.
And that's across all grades,
Yeah,
from juniors
that's it.
up to seniors?
Yeah, no Saturday AFL at all for us. I
Okay.
believe the Penrith Rams, so the above 18s,
Yeah.
they play on Saturdays.
Yeah.
But our guys are all Sunday.
Yeah. Oh, okay. That does that pose a problem? Oh, sorry, because rugby league, a lot of the senior stuff is on the Sunday, and they have the junior stuff on the Saturday.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really think you're going to win really whatever day you guys choose to
Not yet.
to run, eh?
Not yet. Like that, the rugby league's so ingrained in the society. Like the kids that have been there, been playing it since they were young.
Yeah.
You know, so that's why I think our younger ages are good.
Mm-hmm.
When you get them young, you know, they tend to stick with it if they like it. So
Yeah.
but you're 100% right. It will still be a struggle to kind of to beat rugby league, but definitely room for both sports, I think.
Yeah, because I think the way sort of rugby league perceive this move out west, AFL, is that sort of like trying to steal the area. But how I see it is that, I mean, all it is just giving kids another option to play. And I think one of the problems that rugby league does have is that there are a lot of parents that, I guess because of the size of, you know, a lot of the juniors coming up through the grades, you know, it's often reported, you know, like kids that, you know, playing under 14s and they look like they're 18 type thing, you know. So a lot of parents are worried about their child's safety.
Yep.
And so that's why I like the idea of AFL out here, is because it does give that option for a sport that's not necessarily determined by how big or
Yeah.
like strong you are.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
absolutely. So yeah, the game obviously still involves tackling and whatnot.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
And the bigger kids obviously do well in that aspect, but the not always, but the fitness aspect of it can sometimes be a catch cry there, because it's you obviously got to be able to move around the field a bit, and the bigger guys do well to hold off, but there is so much skill involved in the game. You can't rely on size to sort of get you through it. So, absolutely. I think that's a big one for us.
Yeah,
the games are even in that respect for sure.
And do the codes get along? Do you think, like, from your perspective?
I think at a junior level, like we don't really have much to do with rugby league. But yeah, I can't imagine it being too much of an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only reason, as I was saying before, like, sometimes it could be reported as like AFL's raid on Western Sydney type thing, but and I was just interested to know whether or not some of the actual local clubs sort of take that same approach to looking at AFL as opposed to rugby league. But
I think as a club, like, we'd be happy to have rugby league players. It's a very certain skill set that comes from the game. That I think can help the AFL and vice versa. Like the Panthers had Jake Stein, who's one of the Giants' NEAFL players at the moment. He was out there the other week helping the guys with under the high ball. So like
cool.
there's a lot of correlation. So I don't really see it as competitive, but I do feel like the skills could definitely come across, and they could help one another out and make both games better. GWS appointed Cooper Cronk as a leadership position. Not so much the skills of the rugby league game, I imagine. Like Cooper Cronk's a superstar. And but I think absolutely there's room for both codes to help one another.
Yeah, because I look at someone like Israel Folau, how he went from rugby league to AFL.
He did, yeah.
And he looked a bit, out of a fish out of water, right? Mm-hmm. But then he went to rugby, and this is how I feel. I feel as though he couldn't have made that transition to rugby had it not been for all of the skills that he picked up training AFL. Also, too, I think I remember maybe not too long ago, the All Blacks, every now and then they probably meet up with Hawthorn. I remember reading something, and there was pictures of like Alistair Clarkson, standing with Steve Hansen having a bit of a chat. So, I feel as though there could be more in that respect, like just utilising the other codes, training and what they do. Sure.
I don't think the NRL and AFL are ever going to get along too well. No. Like I said, the younger codes, obviously. I think there's big gains there. We can just make our sports people, just give them that edge. Like just as a region. It's a shame that the two sports can't sort of correlate much more, but it's just one of those things. But at the higher level, I think it's much more competitive, and it's great the rugby union and AFL do bounce off one another. It's good.
No, definitely. And so next year, how's next year looking so far for the club?
Yep, looking good. On track to have all the teams we had this year, bar one, but we're looking to pick up extra girls teams again. There'll be a big push this year from the AFL as well to grow that girls competition. We're looking really good. We're happy with where we're headed.
Yep. And before this, you mentioned you were going to be coaching.
Yes, I'll be coaching under 10s.
That's
where my son plays, and my daughter may go into Auskick.
Yeah.
Depending how she feels. When it's time to register, but
And is it your first foray into coaching?
Yeah, well, this year just gone, I coached under 9s.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so at that age, it's still non-competitive. So we had a mixed bag of results through the season. We weren't a standout side, but we had a good enough time.
When you say no results,
non-competitive, so scores aren't recorded. Kids know exactly what's happening. But on paper, there's just a nil or draw. So that's something that's, I think, across soccer, possibly rugby league as well.
So, I'll talk about that just for a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bit of not controversial subject, but
it's a different one.
It's a different one. You said yourself the kids know what's going on.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So
to an extent.
Yeah, to an extent. So, I mean, what's your take? Do you think it's a good thing, a bad thing, or?
Yeah, look, I like the idea behind it. I just don't think it's as effective as they
Yeah.
as they hope. You don't want kids not wanting to come back.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
at the end of the day, that's everyone just wants kids to have fun. You
Yeah,
know, come
yeah.
out, have a good time,
Yeah.
really enjoy themselves.
Mm.
But you know, if the team loses, like they sort of know they've lost it.
Yeah, yeah.
It is one of those really. I imagine every sport, it's a hard thing to get around. Like, you know,
Yeah,
don't worry about
yeah.
it. Like you're literally, you know, you're 8, 9 years old.
Yeah, yeah,
Just learn
yeah.
the game, have a bit of fun.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's something we really do try to instill. But yeah, it's
And what age do they start recording the scores?
under 11s.
Under 11s.
Yeah, so they only get 2 years non-competitive with us.
Yeah,
And then yeah, under 11s they have opportunity to go into finals and whatnot. So,
yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Oh, cool. It's because I was talking to somebody else who's got a child that plays like junior rugby league,
Yep.
and he sort of said the same thing. Like, even though they don't keep scores, like the kids know like when they've lost.
Yeah.
You know, so you obviously can't not
Yeah.
get that out of them, because that's something they obviously naturally just head towards.
Yeah, it's funny, you know, like our kids won one week and like they won okay, like probably by a couple of goals, but they come off and they were certain they'd won 140 to like 20 points, and
Yeah, yeah.
and we know definitely it was maybe no more than 60 points scored in
Yeah,
the whole
yeah,
game.
yeah.
You know, so the kids are funny.
Yeah.
You know, they have really big highs, and you just got to try and avoid those really low lows.
Yeah,
You just want
yeah.
them to keep happy, keep enjoying the game. It's a real challenge, I think. And I feel like as annoying as it is, and like it's, you know, everyone gets a participation trophy sort of
Yeah,
thing, like
yeah.
it's crazy, but like it is hard to kind of. I like the idea.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just, you know, is it the most effective thing? Maybe not. Who knows?
And with the game out here not being as fanatical, supporters like who are watching the game, you know, like once again, you know, rugby league, sometimes you get reports of just the crowd and trying to get involved in the game.
Yep.
Do you see that with AFL out here, or because we're not as fanatical out here about the game? It's
No,
not.
look, I think it's just, you know, you got those bad seeds in different pockets of
Yeah.
like anywhere, like just, you know,
Yeah.
the wrong people come to the wrong thing. Like obviously rugby leagues, unfortunately, they do have that.
Yeah.
Their image got tarnished pretty early.
Yeah.
But you know, I think that's also with the game being so big here that it is more prominent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, we're really lucky.
Yeah.
As a sport, AFL in Sydney, we don't seem to have those issues. And yeah, we are quite lucky.
Oh, cool.
Definitely. So yeah, definitely none of that for us.
Yeah. And where would you like to see the game of AFL out here in Penrith?
Yeah, look, it'd be nice if, you know, we had, you know, full comps, full days, like really, you know, I guess everyone's dream at the moment is sort of that soccer level participation, you know,
Yeah.
Saturday, Sunday,
Yeah.
full days games.
Yeah.
That'd be fantastic, you know.
Yeah.
And run those really good, you know, your rep teams.
Yeah.
Have those pathways for those kids to sort of move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, would you, if you had a crystal ball, like how long do you think that would take? Like, in terms of obviously the work that's getting done at the moment.
Yeah.
You'd think it would have to end up there someday, but when would you see when would you see that day coming?
Yeah, look, I think the big one for us is, and I think like the biggest territory grab for us is sort of AFL NRL. Few years,
Yeah.
I would say. You know, people get disenfranchised. The NRL is just NRL at the top level is having issues, and I think that'll just keep flowing.
Yeah,
through,
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like they can't sort that, and you know, if they're looking for a game of football to come to, you know, we're a pretty good fit, and
Yeah.
kids having a great time. It's good for their health.
Yeah.
You know, they come through injury free. They don't have to worry about things like it's. I think as a new generation of parent comes through that are a bit more worried about welfare and things like that. I think absolutely the game will keep growing. And,
Yeah.
and AFL does a really good job of looking after that image, I think.
Yeah. That I mentioned that earlier. You
Yeah.
know, like just in terms of like the player safety, a lot
That's
of the
right.
rules, you know,
Yeah.
around about making sure that the players remain safe, because that's the main thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've even in our games we have similar to soccer. Your card system.
Yeah.
We go one step further where there's actually a card that comes up for warning. We just get them to cool down.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That was sort of shocked me as well. I was like, that's a
Yeah.
bit over the top, but it's great, you know.
Yeah.
You don't get to that level of heatedness in the games where things erupt and people start getting aggressive and start doing playing riskily and like injuring others.
Yeah.
Everything's just calmed down. Like, even though, it is kids, it is a safe game.
Yeah.
It's still competitive.
Yeah.
So it's really well managed.
Oh, okay, cool. Just as we're finishing up, you mentioned so when you were growing up, you played league and AFL?
I played league very early.
Yeah.
I think I was like 5 to 8 maybe.
Yeah.
I played league. Didn't give it up for any particular reason.
Yeah.
Just got bored of the sport.
Okay.
But that was just, growing up, and my mates are playing soccer.
Oh, okay.
So then I played soccer for a bit.
Yeah.
Then I moved into AFL for a couple of years.
Yeah,
and then stopped playing sport after that, really.
And you mentioned you went for the Kangaroos.
Yeah, I was a North Melbourne supporter.
Yeah.
I don't even know why, to be honest. I think I was just young enough that I liked the idea of the Kangaroos.
Yeah.
And eventually there was talk that they were actually going to be relocated to Sydney, from memory.
Okay.
Yeah, never come to me. But yeah, it was around the Wayne Carey sort of era.
Yeah,
when I liked North Melbourne,
Yeah. Would have been good AFL to watch as a supporter, I guess. Wouldn't have made it that difficult, that decision.
It wasn't a bad time. Like, my dad was a Carlton supporter, so that always helped.
Yeah.
Any team he went for that wasn't Carlton was usually a happy supporter.
Yeah. So, anyone interested in getting into AFL, what should they do if there's any parents that might, want to get their kids involved? What steps should they be taking?
Yeah, look, I think everything's online now. So search Play AFL.
Yeah.
That's a great start. You go find your local club on there.
Yeah.
Anyone in this area, like we're at Cradybrook, you got Glenmore Park, Emu Plains, we've got great clubs. St Clair's really great club.
Yeah.
Hawkesbury. Just everyone's on Google, Facebook.
Yeah.
Have a look, get in touch with someone, and
Yeah. Cool. Well, anyway, look, thanks for coming on to the podcast, and I enjoyed our chat talking about all things AFL, and good luck for next year.
Cheers. Thanks, Elliot.
No worries. Thanks, bye.
Ta.
Hope you enjoyed that. If you can do me a favor and just hit the subscribe button, and I've also got a few other videos on the channel that may be worth checking out. So anyway, until the next episode, catch you later.